Hello everyone, thank you all for joining us today. It's an honor to be part of the third International Gamification Conference in Seoul. My name is Johan Crainich. I'm a teacher of economics, sociology, and political sciences for the French Ministry of Education, and I have been using ludopedagogy for years. I'm supporting my colleagues' projects as a teacher, as a game designer, and by sharing evidence-based practices. Today I'm speaking on my own behalf. The topic of my intervention is: will gamification improve pro-social behavior, motivation, academic and vocational orientation? The main idea is that gamification uses game elements to activate the core drive of human attitudes and behavior. By tailoring a gamified experience for students, trainees, and professionals, we improve our practice as teachers, trainers, coaches, or administrators. I want to tell you about the future of gamification. What is futurology? It is making an educated guess about what is likely to happen in the future. It's taking a tremendous risk. In fact, retrofuturism is the study of how we used to imagine the future. That's why retrofuturism is sometimes so funny and sometimes so accurate, as we can see in these images from the early 20th century. Futurology is highly speculative, firstly because of chaos theory. There are innumerable interacting parameters, and we are making predictions on the long run. As we can see from the Lorentz model, a tiny deviation in a single variable can lead to divergent results. Many parameters plus long-term evolutions equal an important and unpredictable outcome, even from a tiny deviation. The second reason is individual and collective decisions, which are already difficult to explain retrospectively. So why bother with futurology at all? No one can learn without making predictions and comparing them to feedback. Over time, the effects of each iteration are compounded. If you want to make an educated guess about the future, you need to analyze causality, what means to describe and to explain, to focus on strong long-term trends, not just the present, to identify critical decisions, to think strategically, empowering individuals and communities to pave the way to a better future. What is gamification? We are going to rephrase Yukai Chun. Gamification isn't involving games as a whole. Gamification is deriving all the fun and addicting elements found in games by using game mechanics and techniques, and using them to real-world or to productive activities. Gamification keeps people engaged for a long time. It builds relationships and trust between people, and it develops their creative potential. What is powerful about gamification? As Jen McGonigal points out, gamification reinforces certain attitudes, such as urgent optimism, bonds, trust and cooperation, blissful productivity, and epic meaning. Gamification can be mobilized in non-formal education, in educational and vocational guidance. The point is to create tailor-made, user-centric experiences. Non-formal education can be gamified. According to the Council of Europe, non-formal education refers to planned, structured programs and processes of personal and social education for young people designed to improve a range of skills and competencies outside the formal educational curriculum. For instance, before becoming a teacher, I worked as a child counselor for social centers daycare. Kids were from 10 to 14 years old. We did a lot of activities requiring to use public infrastructures. We did snorkeling, climbing, sports games. We traveled around the city of Marseille, etc. In order to deal with safety and misbehaviors issues, I had to set and enforce instructions. I wanted rules to be effective and accepted, to develop citizenship and responsibility, to ensure well-being, and of course, to have a lot of fun. So I gamified my day-to-day management. I used the theme of the 2004 Olympic Games. I introduced a scoreboard, organized teams, and created a disciplinary committee inspired by four sport federations. It was based on principles: immediate compliance with my instructions, mutual care, and delayed decisions by a disciplinary committee run by children but under my supervision. And it worked very well. Delayed decisions reduced arousal. The children had to understand the facts, feelings, intentions, and consequences in order to plead their cases. They knew that they would be heard before any decision. They kept in mind that one day they would be the judges and one day the accused. They were introduced to the principles of rule of law, such as impersonal rules, due process, and the prevalence of the spirit of law. Genuine empowerment built a community bounded by common norms and values, and trust improved. This is the popular education way. Many schools introduced a system inspired by Harry Potter's house cat. Like in Hogwarts, pupils were divided in teams called houses, which included children of different ages. Throughout the year, good behavior has been rewarded. At the same time, misbehavior resulted in the house losing points. Explaining rules and expectations, empowerment, stronger feelings of belonging, and peer pressure led to a better school climate and fewer offenses. The point is that the regulatory system still exists. Changing its aesthetics makes it more explicit and more engaging. This is a paradox that is quite easy to resolve. The regulatory system needs to be more explicit and better discussed in order to become more relevant and explicit. 50 points to Gryffindor. How is it that changing aesthetics of regulations also changes social relations? As adults, we forget easily that pupils are new to this world, a world full of hidden or misleading norms, values, and signals that can quickly become opportunities and threats. School then becomes a puzzling environment. The adults who worked in the school are also unaware that they are not in tune with each other. So gamification of daily life and of school rules also helps adults to work as a team. In a democracy, fair and efficient rules are not waiting to be discovered. Rules are always trade-offs that are chosen together. The social contract is discussed and signed again every day. Let's talk about modular high school and academic gamification. The French high school experienced a revolution in 2019 as it became modular. This reform unraveled the previous path proposed for the last 2 years in general high school, when pupils are about 16 to 18 years old. This concerns 55% of the pupils, while 25% go to a vocational school and 20% to a technological path. The general path used to propose three curriculums: scientific, economic and social, and literature. From 2019, the General High School offers common courses and majors. When pupils enter la classe de première, which is year 12 in the UK and junior year in the US, 12 hours a week are devoted to the three majors. In their last year, they keep only two majors. With the new system, we could create a skill tree that we can find in digital role-playing games or tabletop role-playing games. We could create a gamified and customizable interface. Success depends on the Ministry of Education and on higher education institutes, for example, by clearly stating the conditions of admission. Parcoursup is a web portal that manages the balance between undergraduate places in French universities and other higher education institutions and application from high school graduates. In 2020, the Conseil constitutionnel ruled that institutions using Parcoursup had to be more explicit in their selection criteria. For example, Parcoursup interface has been improved, yet the user still doesn't know precisely which are the mandatory majors and how they are weighted. Moreover, in recent years, the institutions selecting out of Parcoursup have met a tremendous success, making transparency harder. The gamification of the academic orientation could lead to greater transparency, equity, and efficiency for all. What about a skill tree for academic orientation and professional development? In the future, the spread of private and online certifications will make pupils' and professionals' personal achievements and education more of a priority. Learners will be able to sign up to an app that will help them to meet vocational expectations. Learners will know at any moment how close they are to their objectives. They will change or add classes to open new horizons. They will tailor an optimal, a classic, or an original build, a set of certified skills. Just as a World of Warcraft player builds a paladin, a druid, or mage. Alumni and other adults could share their own skill trees to inspire and guide pupils, demonstrating that adult life offers many pathways to success and are lifelong. This would push authorities to plan better and more steady expectations. What are the issues that have emerged or worsened in the last years? They are mostly related to complexity and faster change, to an increased competition between workers, and to asymmetric information. Fake informations have been worsened by generative AI. Privatization and globalization of education have intensified. In France, for instance, the number of students in higher education in the private sector surged by 46% between 2011 and 2021. This represents 25% of students. This causes problems in terms of heterogeneity in training, and it makes the control by the public authorities more difficult. Due to increased competition, students extend virtue signaling to benevolent activities, extending the competitive field. For individuals, privacy is diminishing, while institutions are becoming more secretive and taking full advantage of technology. While technology creates problems, it can also offer solutions. One possible solution would be to enforce open data for institutions and private data for individuals. Institutions could use blockchain and NFTs. When blockchain provides decentralization and security, it faces issues in terms of scalability. For instance, Bitcoin is not that scalable to frequent transactions. This is not a problem because diplomas, training curriculums, and key performance indicators do not change frequently. Enforcing interoperability would allow a better convergence between the public and the private sectors. For individuals, rather than open badges or LinkedIn profiles, which can be a handicap for unconventional pupils and trainees, I advocate for zero-knowledge proofs. Zero-knowledge proofs are techniques for verifying claims without revealing the information itself. In this process, a prover shares proof of their claim with the verifier, who then verifies the accuracy of the proof without learning any additional information. This allows individuals to protect their privacy and to display only the relevant items when they apply. That's also better for outliers, harlequins with an unconventional profile. They benefit from hiding their complexity to succeed in a closed-minded, gated network or in a highly competitive environment. Some issues, however, cannot be settled with technology as it implies ethics. One of these is the balance between the need for conformity versus all the virtues of deviance. As Émile Durkheim would say, societies need to combat deviance, which prevents integration and efficiency. It limits harmony. He also argued that deviance is a normal phenomenon that allows society to evolve. An ignored or despised opinion or feature could become highly valued in the future, such as esports at a competitive level. Another issue a technology cannot solve is domination. The gamification of academic and vocational orientation can lead to an essential facility, and it could be a battleground for the acknowledgement of qualifications. Letting algorithms bias into the system would legitimize a double standard that hinders many academics, workers, and minorities. Last, the automation of tasks performed by white-collar and creative workers turned out to be easier than thought. Deep learning AI has led computers to answer the humanity's existential questions, such as what deserves a high or low value, with high-frequency trading or pricing algorithms. AI is also doing dream jobs that were already underpaid, such as artists, while the gig economy is booming. Today, more and more activities are gamified, and games are based on dark patterns such as monetization, addiction, fear of missing out, illusion of control, or propaganda. Are we still collectively deciding what agenda we are pursuing, or is it a utopia for some and a boring dystopia for many? As a powerful engagement engine, gamification should include political awareness in order to treat pupils, trainees, and professionals as actors rather than the puppets in a play that has been written for them by others. That's only possible when thinking the future and for the future, and when doing it with the optimistic, altruistic, and forward-thinking mindset of an elder planting a tree. Thank you.